My honor, my privilege. David Williams' presentation on North Carolina's training and deliverables agreement for the emergency watershed program. You ready? David.
Ready.
For old time's sake. You're welcome.
All right. Hey, and it's good to be with you all. So I've enjoyed the presentations today. I've taken lots of notes, and I'm preparing to share this at my weekly staff meeting tomorrow with, I'm hoping some of my staff are on here. I can't really tell who is on these webinars, but I'm hopeful that some of my staff are benefiting from this. Like I know Eric Calam was on yesterday, and I think some others have been on this week. If you've been around for a while, you probably have heard me complain about the emergency watershed program and how it has not lived up to its billing in North Carolina, at least, since in the previous, or I guess we're still at the end of the teens. Anyway, the decade of the teens has been a poor implementation of EWP for North Carolina, but we're committed to making it work. And one of the things that we have realized has been one of the big problems. I'll give an example. Hurricane Florence happened 2 years ago last month. We are just now beginning implementation of the sites that were approved for EWP at this time. So we're 2 years post disaster and beginning to do the emergency watershed program. 2 years later doesn't really fit the word emergency in my mind. So we recognize we've got a problem, and yes, there's lots of places for the ball to get lost on EWP between the local, the state, and Washington. But we realize that one of the first things that we can do is to make sure that the ball gets started as quickly as possible. And so one of the things that we have committed to do is to engage NRC, our district and state resources, district staff, in developing the front end materials for this emergency watershed protection program. Because the process starts with the development of the field data reports and screens to screen the sites for eligibility, and then to submit the damage survey reports and to submit these to the state con and to headquarters for funding approval. And so NRCS, with their lack of staff resources in 2020, is well documented, and I imagine everybody's feeling the same pain we are in that regard. But they don't have the staff to do this work for this program anymore. And so they had been trying to do contracts and hire people to do the work through contracts. And that took a long time to get going. It was very expensive. And so the DSRs didn't get done until a year after the event. And so that was a problem. And then the other problem was that most local sponsors are just unfamiliar with the process for EWP participation. And so we need to make this program be more of a locally led program from its beginning. Ray, my slide, okay, there we go. So again, so the purpose, we started negotiating with NRCS to develop this training, or this agreement by which we would train district and state staff and then give them the authority and some funding compensation to do this front end work, to develop the DSRs, to develop the field data reports that are the kickoff documents to make these make EWP get started in a timely manner. So we're providing training right now. We want to increase the amount of available staff. So this fits this session in that this is a capacity issue. We're trying to address a capacity limitation with our federal partner to make sure that we are better able to serve our customers. So we want to increase the amount of available staff that can assist with this immediate workload, and then again provide a funding mechanism. So it's a district funding issue as well. So providing a funding mechanism for NRCS partners to supplement the NRCS manpower. And we have pitched this to Washington. We met with Chief Lohr at the NACD meeting last year and proposed this as a national pilot project to engage partner employees and to make EWP more responsive than it has been, at least in our experience. So we've planned several training sessions to train partnership staff. We have held 2 of the 4 planned virtual sessions to kind of explain the overview of the program, what eligibility, what types of sites are eligible, how to complete the reports, and then we had planned 8 field sessions. We've conducted 2 of those 8. We had 2 more scheduled for today and tomorrow, but now NRCS recently had a change and they can't go out and do on-site training because of COVID. I don't know why it suddenly became an issue. I think I know why, but so we're having to reschedule all of our trainings. But that's a temporary setback. We're committed to make this happen. And here's a couple of shots of the training we held the week before last, looking at how to estimate the cost of and developing, what are the scenarios under which a project would become eligible for EWP, what types of restoration is eligible, and how do you estimate the cost and develop a plan for doing the restoration. So that's part of filling out the field data reports, which is the first step, which is a preliminary site visit to prospective sites. And we're screening for eligibility. And NRCS in this has agreed to reimburse the district $160 per completed FDR. And we've estimated that this will take about 8 hours to 8 person hours to complete this. And this is one of the sites that we had planned to do training tomorrow for our, where the stream just completely washed out the stream bank right here. And now this metal building is perched on the edge of falling into Locks Creek. So the next step is the damage survey reports. If a site, you do the field data report and it looks like the site is eligible technically, then you do the damage survey reports. And this is where you're developing a basic scope of work for the restoration and estimating the cost. The form that you fill out, the damage survey report, is called the PDM 20. And this needs to be reviewed with local sponsors to make sure they understand that this is something that they want to do. Because unlike other programs, it requires a local government sponsor to manage the EWP program. NRCS doesn't go out and hire contractors and do the work. They did years ago, but that's not the way this work is anymore. They work through local government sponsors. So the local government sponsor has to be made aware of what the plans are, brought on board, and so a big part of this process is the partnership staff interacting with these local sponsors to make sure they understand what the program involves and that they want to pursue this, because it's a big undertaking. The cultural resources review form is another aspect of the damage survey reports, and NRCS is going to reimburse $458 per completed DSR to the districts, and but each report has to be reviewed and approved by NRCS staff. So the districts are, both of these are kind of what I call the front end aspects of the implementation of EWP. They're also going to reimburse travel costs. One of the other initiatives we've got going on in North Carolina right now is a mutual aid agreement where districts are partnering with one another, so that if we have another hurricane disaster in the east, that our employees in the west will have a mechanism by which they can be reassigned to work in a eastern district and vice versa. We've got right now 3 different implementations of EWP going on in all 3 regions of our state. So there's opportunities for district employees to help one another out in other districts. And so this agreement includes funding to help cover some of those travel costs for the employees to travel to another part of the state to do work. So we're excited about this. We're disappointed that our training has had a setback, but thank God we're not Louisiana right now this year, because this year has been a relatively mild hurricane season for us. We hope that we never get a chance to use this again. All this training that we're doing right now will be for naught, but we doubt that's going to be the case. So I'm glad to answer any questions anyone has about this. I think it's a good thing for our districts and for our citizens.